It has been almost a full year since I've worked on this outdoor kitchen, and today we're going to get right back to it. In my opinion, the most important part of building a pizza oven is making sure you use the proper insulation for the oven. We're going to focus on the oven floor today and insulating that aspect of the oven, because once the floor is built, then we can continue on and make the dome. The first thing you're going to have to do is to decide how big you want your oven to be. Don't forget to consider the fact that when you are deciding on the size of this oven floor, that you're going to lose some space because the thickness of the brick that's going to go all the way around is going to occupy space as well. I am making a 40-inch oven, but I took into account that these bricks are 4 inches wide, so the entire diameter is actually 48 inches. So that way, when I have my bricks to build the dome in place, I'm losing 4 inches on each side, so I'm going to have 40 inches here. Once you decide on the size of your oven, it's a good idea to create some kind of a stencil like I did here. Now this is made out of a 1/4-inch piece of plywood, and I actually drew lines on here. And this is going to really come in handy in creating a mold for our insulation. I've been researching how to build a brick oven for years, and from my research, one thing I realized is the fact that there's a lot of right ways to build an oven, and there's also a lot of wrong ways to build an oven. So I'm going to do it my way. Doesn't mean that that is the only way. The two most common options that I found for insulating the oven floor were to use either ceramic fiberboard, which has certain advantages, one of which is it is the best insulator out there. If you want to keep your oven extremely hot for as long as possible, that's what you would want to use. A huge disadvantage to that, and one of the reasons why I'm not going to be using that, is that if this material gets wet, it will turn to mush. And so I'm worried that I won't be able to cover my pizza oven in time, and there's always a risk that water could get under there and everything will be ruined. So I chose to go the other route. And the other common route is to use vermiculite. Now I have a bag of vermiculite here, which I am going to open up and show you exactly what it looks like. It almost kind of looks like kitty litter. It's very light in weight, a little bit spongy. Now, this has been used for hundreds of years as an insulator for wood-fired ovens like this. Now, if you mix this with Portland cement, you're going to get something that will be very good for insulating not only the oven floor, but also the entire dome when you're finished. The fiberboard is a better insulator. In fact, you need twice as much vermiculite as far as thickness goes to get the same insulative properties that you would get with the ceramic fiberboard. So if you're going to use vermiculite as your insulation for your oven floor, you're going to have to build a mold kind of like what I did here. Now I've decided to go 5 inches. From what I'm reading, you probably go lower than that, but I want to make sure that this oven stays as hot as possible because I'd like to make things other than pizza. Before you fill your form, you want to make sure everything is perfectly level. So that's what we're going to do. And I am just slightly off. To mix the vermiculite, I'm going to be using 5 parts vermiculite, 1 part Portland cement, and 2 parts water. Before you add the water, dry mix the vermiculite and the Portland cement. Otherwise, you might end up getting a lumpy consistency. You don't want to make this too soupy. What you want is kind of like an oatmeal texture. And very, very important, do not use any electronic mixers. You have to mix this stuff by hand, and you have to be very careful that you don't overmix it, because if you overmix it, the granulars of the vermiculite start to break down. And then if they break down, then you're not going to insulate the way they're supposed to. I covered this in plastic because I want to slow down the curing process. The slower this cures, the stronger the bond is going to be. We're going to let this cure for a few days, and then we're going to move on to the next part, which is laying down the brick floor. If you are new to the channel, I have a whole bunch of other videos for you to check out. If you are really interested in this, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell icon. That way you'll get notifications of when I post that video. That will do it for this one, everybody. I hope everyone is healthy and safe, and I will see you in the next one.